Iranian strategy is not necessarily to have Iranian troops occupying these countries. That would be too obvious. With petrodollars, unlike the Soviet Union, the Iranians could go across any border.
Iran has bought itself the support of a third of humanity by signing huge energy deals with China and India. They have a way to buy the support of countries that are extremely important on the world stage.
China emerged as Iran's top oil export market. Iran provides 300,000 barrels of oil a day to China, generating billions of dollars in revenue.
With the petrodollars pouring in from Iran, that money could create a lot of influences.
پیام انقلاب پیام جهانی است، در جغرافیا و زمان محدود نمی شود. تردید نکنید که ان شاء الله اسلام همه کجا رو فتح خواهد کرد؟ همه قله‌های جهان رو فتح خواهد کرد.
Today, the Iranian regime is on the verge of becoming a nuclear power. In 1968, Iran, under the Shah's leadership, signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty and began working on a nuclear energy program. With the overthrow of the Shah, the Iranian nuclear program went into remission. At the time, Khomeini didn't value the potential of Iran's energy program, but within a few years, circumstances would change. With well over 500,000 Iranians dead and Khomeini refusing a ceasefire agreement, the regime decided to secretly restart Iran's nuclear program. The details of the program would eventually become the subject of international scrutiny and debate.
Iran commits under the Non-Proliferation Treaty not to do anything that would lead to the development of nuclear weapons. It pledges to be a non-nuclear weapons state. It's entitled to, under the treaty, to peaceful civil nuclear power, and there is an ambiguity there.
Yet, Iran is one country that may never need another source of energy.
Iran sits on enormous reserves of fairly clean-burning and super cheap natural gas. They're arguing they need to make fuel to be independent. It doesn't add up.
Iran is entitled to a nuclear energy program if it abides by its treaty requirements.
The IAEA Director General's latest report once again concludes that Iran is not complying with its IAEA and Security Council obligations.
ما هیچ چیز مخفی نداریم.
We have no secrecy.
و در چارچوب مقررات آژانس کار میکنیم.
And we work within the framework of the IAEA.
How many more lie buried? That's the question for Iran tonight, after revealing it had been concealing a second secret nuclear enrichment facility.
One of the things the Iranians learned from the North Koreans was to bury their facilities, hiding them from the view of satellites and overhead imagery.
More and more of these clandestine sites are coming to light, but it has to be understood that the network of Iran's nuclear weapons program is quite large, and there must be many, many sites that are not disclosed so far.
Another cause for alarm is Iran's unexplained enrichment of uranium and plutonium, well beyond the levels necessary for a peaceful nuclear energy program.
And Iran is in the news tonight. Nuclear experts have found unexplained traces of plutonium and highly enriched uranium in a nuclear waste facility in Iran.
Iran is enriching uranium, and we don't have any explanation for the use of this enriched uranium.
No matter how many resolutions are passed, Islamic Republic of Iran will not stop its enrichment activities.
You are not going after a nuclear bomb.
Definitely not.
Hate
this weapon.
The IRGC reached out to the Pakistani so-called father of the bomb, A.Q. Khan, and obtained blueprints for warhead design.
We know that they have laboratories that are working on some kind of high explosive implosion work.
Recently uncovered documents have revealed the development of detonation devices.
The document talks of a 4-year Iranian program to develop a neutron initiator, a highly specialized component of a nuclear detonator.
This had no civil application. The only conclusion we could reach is that this was part of a plan to develop at least the capability to be able to build this part for a nuclear weapons program.
For years, the Iranian government has failed to live up to its obligations under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. It has violated its commitments to the International Atomic Energy Agency. It has ignored UN Security Council resolutions. And while Iran's leaders hide behind outlandish rhetoric, their actions have been deeply troubling.
It's not just a failure of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, but rather the fact that a dangerous regime committed to the Islamic Jihad in the world is now coming into possession of deliverable nuclear weapons.
If Iran develops a nuclear weapon, even a small, very primitive one that they just detonate in the desert and have a small mushroom cloud and some radioactivity, that makes them a nuclear power, even one test.
The leverage that they gain once they have the capability changes the balance in the region and around the world without even having to use the weapon.
It could essentially hold hostage other states to its desires.
The Iranians could tell their neighbors, you will not export X, Y, and Z, or a certain amount of oil, and the regimes are going to have to say, yes, sir.
Crude prices have now breached the $120 a barrel level for various reasons. The markets are worried about a disruption in supplies from Iran.
When these countries disrupt oil supplies or cause volatility or even issue warnings about what they're going to do in response to certain foreign policy actions, that causes a great deal of volatility in the oil market, causes prices to go up.
War games in the Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz, a crucial waterway for the movement of global oil exports.
Nearly half of the world's oil supply travels on ship through the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow gateway to the Persian Gulf along Iran's coast.
Iran has said if attacked, it could close the Strait of Hormuz.
They could theoretically, and with a surface missile, cover the straits and destroy ships going through there.
The temporary cutoff under those circumstances would be something that would shove the price of oil very high.
Iranian nuclear weapons can significantly limit the ability to counterattacks on shipping lanes and to provide protection to surrounding nations.
Newly leaked diplomatic cables posted on WikiLeaks show Middle East powers like Saudi Arabia don't trust Iran and fear that Iran will soon threaten them with a nuclear bomb. Similar comments came from the leaders of Bahrain and UAE.
Iran's neighbors are looking for reassurance that we will be there for them if something goes wrong. And frankly, they're very scared that we won't be. These regimes want to survive. And that means that if we will not be there